is just a lot of the uncertainty at the moment. We've got obviously warships moving around the world, certain countries just being set alit after certain drug cartel members have been taken out. The majority of selling on exchanges has been whales, as opposed to just the average lay retail consumer. Just fish, right? So the whales basically accounted for 60% of all of the net exchange inflows. So the idea is that if they're moving it onto exchange, it's to sell, versus if people are taking assets off exchanges, it's usually put away in cold storage or custody. Trump's global tariff plan, it's really hit a massive legal wall. The legal basis that basically brought upon the tariffs has basically been deemed not appropriate. What if all of a sudden they have to pay back consumers? There's some sort of rebate back to the US taxpayer. Things don't always just go in one direction forever. Not to call that this is then 100% going to be the bottom, but this was kind of the point in the past where we did see some sort of relief or pressure reliever.
Do you think we're mirroring 2018? And if so, what do you take from that? G'day guys, welcome back to Tapping Into Crypto. We're back here, another week of crypto in the bear market.
Good to be here.
We're not going anywhere. We're going to keep you guys updated in all the little things.
We ain't leaving.
We ain't leaving. Not anytime soon. Yeah. I'm joined by the all-powerful Pavrigo.
I was expecting an insult there. I'm thinking it almost feels like the positivity is like a backhanded thing every time now.
It's actually ruder.
Yeah, it's ruder.
How's
just
things?
Be rude to me. Just make it plain and simple. Things are good. What happened? Kids being repainting their cubby house. It's been pretty cool.
Nice.
They're actually repainting. It's not just up to the adults to finish the job. It's good.
There you go. Put them to work.
Yeah, that's it.
Mate, good stuff. Well, listen, we've got a big show today. Despite the bear market, we're going to cover a lot of key things, namely an update on Trump's tariffs.
Yeah, people might not want to hear that, but you're going to want to hear this one. So make sure you get around, because there's a bit happening. So at least we're going to break it down for everyone.
It's a non-boring, non-super negative
It's going to be
update.
short too. We're not going to drag on about it. So yeah.
Cool thing. We're looking at 2018 and making some comparisons to now.
Mm-hmm.
What are we doing? You're looking at some whale activity.
Yeah, some interesting developments. Not in the ocean. That's right.
And then we're going to look at two key events that are happening this year and how they could have a significant impact on the crypto market. But first, let's get straight into it. Or maybe let's give an update on where the market's at. Probably from last week hasn't changed too much. I think last week we spoke about how fear and greed hit an all-time low. I think I actually mentioned it had hit its lowest point since like 2 bear markets ago, but I actually found out, and to correct myself, it hit the lowest point it ever hit since recording that sort of metric. And then, so that was a metric of 5, which is extreme fear, and then it hit it again this week. So what does that tell you?
What's it tell us? It tells us, uncharted waters in terms of sentiment. And sentiment is what sort of drives markets, right? Like, we're going to touch on that today as well, how that sort of rolls together, but pretty desperate times.
Yeah, and also looking at SwiftX trading volume, which is a good indicator of sort of sentiment in the market. It hit like its lowest point, aside from Christmas Day last year, which understandably volume's going to be low. People are celebrating with their families. But it was the lowest point since late 2023. So it just shows you there's a lot of apathy in market right now. That was the bottom. What's that?
Late 23, was that a bottom?
No.
22 was the bottom. Yeah.
But just a lot of apathy. Not much confidence in the markets. Which looking back, when people are particularly apathetic and saying Bitcoin's dead, it has shown it's a good time to buy. But not financial advice, but typically that's what we've seen in the historical cycles of crypto.
But what's not helping with the fear and greed is just a lot of the uncertainty at the moment. We've got obviously warships moving around the world, certain countries just being set alit after certain drug cartel members have been taken out. And just on top of everything else, like this, just the last 2 years has just been a frenzy of just sentiment driving news. We've now got Trump's global tariffs basically being told that they were unlawfully potentially instilled to the public. So currently, just an update on what's happening there. We'll dive right into it. Trump's global tariff plan, it's really hit a massive legal wall. There was a Supreme Court ordering that ruled 6-3 that Trump can't use the IEEPA, which is the International Emergency Economic Powers Act, which is how they basically looked to instill and basically execute a lot of these tariffs globally. Was not something that they could do. The legal basis that basically brought upon the tariffs has basically been deemed not appropriate. So what they've done is they've essentially pivoted to another trade act, which all you need to know there is it's bought them 150 days in terms of runway for the whole tariff saga. So why this all matters, again, we're talking about sentiment, what's driving markets. Markets are forward-looking. So they take what's happening now, they price it in anticipation of where things are going in the future. Now, tariffs are a sensitive one because it's only been just over a year that we saw them come into play. They were sort of flaunted, but then actually, I think we saw in January, like the actual launch of quite a few tariffs start to be sort of talked about, or what it would look like in action. Yeah, so give or take a year that the market's actually priced in the eventual changes in, the movement of supply chains, costs for consumers, costs for producers. It's a huge, huge deal for the globe, right? Because the US is the largest consumer base in the world. So basically playing around with there, it's going to cause some gripes, again, with people just trying to understand how the economy is going to behave before and after that. So why this matters is obviously in 150 days, this whole thing could be rolled back, or there could be a new version, or there could be something else that happens that we don't know about. Like what if all of a sudden they have to pay back consumers? There's some sort of rebate back to the US taxpayer. So there's a lot of things that we just don't know what's going to happen. But I feel like a big theme, and will help obviously everyone keep on top of it, is going to start to see a lot of these sort of scenarios come out of the woodwork. There's going to be a lot of people throwing crazy things out there that ChatGPT thinks this, Gemini thinks that, a whole bunch of people. So I think the macro setup for here, particularly for us, we're in crypto, right? Again, we're talking about fear and greed just being an absolute lows. What if there is something all of a sudden that just provides a bit of optimism? Or on the other side, what if it makes things potentially look a little bit worse and everyone's just maybe just a little bit more cautious for a little bit longer? So it kind of sets up this sort of theme that within the next 150 days, we'll probably have a good reason to either get excited or maybe not be too excited.
Will you tell us now, Pav, good or bad for crypto?
It's all sentiment, honestly. Because again, if things aren't interrupted too badly and everyone can sort of get back to the rules of the game, which is like global trade, then it's good for crypto. The sooner we can get to like a point of certainty, probably the better it's going to be. If we see like the next 150 days is just like, they fight back, they lose, they fight back, they lose. And there's just all this, like we've seen what Trump can do as well. Like I feel like everyone's getting less sensitive to it, but he does outrageous things. Like we've seen him, apply 100% tariffs to other countries. What if he starts, I don't know, Supreme Court injunctions on people just to throw them under the bus and drown them in paperwork. And, we don't really see anything that's going to give the market confidence to sort of make decisions off the back of. So I think where we are right now, super, super early. Like, I don't think there's too much that we can sort of give away on what we think is going to happen next, but it's more that this is a big piece. And the more sort of cards that come out of the deck, I feel like it's going to be a good way to sort of track how the sentiment maybe could be evolving for the better. Like, we don't know, but let's be optimistic at least.
Yeah.
So I think that's a pretty key call out.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Good call out, Pav. Okay, so moving on. We've got this note in here that we've had the longest losing streak since 2018. And what that means is we've had 4 consecutive red months. So we're talking October, November, December, and January. And February is looking like it's going to be the same. I guess...
Price go down.
Yeah, price going down. So that's for the first time since 2018. Yep. So we had another bear market in 2022. Obviously, we didn't hit 4 consecutive months.
Nope.
And then there's another note in there about how we've had 5 consecutive red weeks in a row, which is the first time since 2018 as well. So yeah, I think along the lines of what we're saying about fear and greed and sentiment and apathy really, really at an all-time low. But I guess how do you consider this? Like, do you think we're mirroring 2018, and if so, what do you take from that?
It's more the fact that how brutal 2018 was. Everyone would look, if you're in 2024 looking at 2018, you're like, oh god, that was brutal, look at that, look how many red weeks in a row there were. We're there now. So it's more just understanding, again, we talk about sentiment, the market's facing a similar level of like selling sentiment as it was back then. Not to call that this is then 100% going to be the bottom, but it kind of should make everyone sort of think, well, this was kind of the point in the past where we did see some sort of relief or pressure reliever. Because I think the same way everyone can get too bullish and it's too easy to be a bull, you can also get this situation like I think what we're moving into, like where everyone's just super bearish, becomes too comfortable to be a bear, and really you're potentially going to hurt yourself if you do look at that sort of market with too negative of a view. Like things don't always just go in one direction forever. Well, I guess time horizon matters there. But for me, it just means that maybe we're getting closer to some sort of pressure relieving point for the market. I know we've got a few stories on what's been causing a lot of this sell pressure as well. So a few of those sort of factors, getting off the throat of the market will be good.
Yeah.
But yeah, how do you feel about it?
Look, I think it's nothing we haven't experienced before, particularly if you've been in crypto for a while.
Yeah.
I've got a chart here that actually shows, the amount of times that Bitcoin has been called dead. If you invested $100 each time, you'd have about $67 million. That's about 462 times.
Yeah, okay.
So I don't know who's saying that or like what this is based off, but it's an interesting chart. And if you see it gets a lot more sparse as we go on.
Yeah, there's less dots.
Yeah. So it's being called dead at a less frequent rate.
Yeah.
But still, people continue to do it despite, historically we've seen that it always recovers and reaches new highs. But look, I think that just goes to show there's still opportunity in this market. And we always talk about the anecdote about, when the Uber driver and your grandma are talking about crypto and they're going to kill it, that's when you want to look to sell. And then on the inverse side, when everyone's calling it a scam and Bitcoin's dead, that's when you might look to accumulate because you do the opposite of what the masses are doing.
Yeah. Whereas right now we're getting messages from friends and family saying, make it stop. Maybe it's a time to...
Exactly.
But yeah, I mean, there's some other sort of metrics to sort of just contextualize that as well further. We've got short-term holders. So again, on-chain data, we've talked about in previous episodes, how that can be a bit of an x-ray into how the market's behaving. When we look at the behavior of buyers and sellers. About $0.4 trillion of the total market cap of Bitcoin, which is about 30%, is currently underwater. So they're not in profit. Oh, no, wait, that's long-term holders. Sorry, my mistake. That's long-term holders that are actually underwater as well. So short-term holders, it's even less than that. It's basically zero. There's really no one that's currently, according to on-chain data, really in profits at the moment. So
that's good.
Yeah. So, but again, it kind of shows you, do you expect that to be, how many more weeks can we put up with that as being the reality? I just don't see it being, it's the same way as if it was the inverse. It's like, well, everyone's winning. That should be kind of like a warning sign. I'm kind of like trying to say this is the same thing, but in the inverse, right?
Yeah, exactly. Well, typically you want to see that capitulation happen, people sell off for the final time before you bottom out. Like we discussed it last week. Have we seen that yet? I don't know. If you're saying long-term holders are still in the green, is that what you're saying?
Only 30% of them are in the green. So it's looking harder, sort of looking pretty rough for everyone across the board, right? So again, we'll wait to see it when we see it, right? Yeah.
Love that. Now, I mentioned at the top of the show that you were going to talk about some whale activity.
Yeah.
For anyone that doesn't know, a whale in crypto is basically just yourself, Pav, or anyone who owns a lot of crypto.
Could be Ted. He keeps talking about it. No, it's definitely someone who obviously has enough size to make a pretty meaningful impact, in the markets. So we saw a very notable ratio, according again to some on-chain data, flows that the majority of selling on exchanges has been whales, as opposed to just the average lay retail consumer. Just fish, right? So the whales basically accounted for 60% of all of the net exchange inflows. So the idea is that if they're moving it onto exchange, it's to sell, generally speaking, is the heuristic there, versus if people are taking assets off exchanges, it's usually put away in cold storage or custody. So I found a cool news story. Well, it's not really that cool, but a kind of supportive news story around this. So there's a major miner in the US NASDAQ listed company, BitDeer. So BitDeer is one of the largest Bitcoin mining companies, again, in the world. They're over in the US. But as of late February, just to give an idea of how big this company is, their market cap's at about $1.8 to $2.1 billion. They roughly generated $225 million in revenue, according to the earnings in Q4 last year. So, they've seen growth. I think it was 200% growth in that quarter's growth as well. So they're, you could say all in all, a pretty successful company. But they've basically liquidated their entire corporate holdings of Bitcoin. So the reported amount that they held was 943 Bitcoin, but they've also sold all the Bitcoin that they generated in the month preceding as well. So that's about 1,000 Bitcoin in total. Now, this has been a pretty noticeable trend across Bitcoin miners. If you do start to look into the news, Marathon Digital, as well as Riot, they're the other two big players. Marathon probably being the larger player of the two. They're all looking to reduce their Bitcoin exposure and start to really invest in what else we're seeing in the market? AI infrastructure. So they're seeing that as potentially a way to take, a lot of the ways that their businesses are viable for Bitcoin mining is through cheap power, or like the ability to access optimized power cost. So removing their compute power away from Bitcoin while the market's recovering, switch it onto AI, which seems to be right now they can't get enough infrastructure.
Yeah.
As we all know, there's all like those bottlenecks with hardware at the moment.
Yeah.
So really, really interesting, I think, shift. Bitdeer is looking to do the exact same thing. They're selling down to help fund an infrastructure shift towards AI as well. So I thought that was really interesting. Yeah.
The AI stuff, like all the data centers, they just can't build enough, right?
No.
Like Elon Musk is talking about putting data centers in the sky.
That's where everything goes in the sky.
Yeah.
That guy?
Might as well.
Yeah.
We put them underwater. What's next in the sky?
Yeah. But that's, again, like we're talking about what's driving the market right now. As much as, we talk about, I'm going to buy a little bit here, a little bit there. I don't think any of us are going to, counteract 1,000 Bitcoin coming into the market anytime soon. Like easily, I should say. Like you need to see buy pressure come in as well. So there's quite a bit of sell pressure coming, even from the guys that are mining this stuff out of the blockchain. So I thought that was really interesting.
Well, I did want to put it all sounds a bit doom and gloom, what we've just discussed, but I did want to put a bit of a positive spin on it. But unfortunately, these could be either positive or negative catalysts, but catalysts you need to pay attention to nonetheless. So,
I think so.
The first one we've talked about at length is the Clarity Act. But to give a bit of an update there, and to give some background, that's like the most important piece of legislation, basically in crypto's history. Essentially, crypto's been operating in murky waters in the US and around the world, and that prevents a lot of big institutions from coming in because it's not fully regulated, right? With this act, we'll bring sort of that clarity. Pun may or may not be intended. But what's happening there is the odds of it passing before 2026 have reduced to 57%. And it used to be a lot higher than that.
It was like above 80, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, it was at one point. And I think it was even before June, right?
Yeah, okay.
So things aren't looking as rosy as they once were. And the reason for this is because of the midterms in the US. And what's looking likely is that the Democrats claim those midterms. And what you want to, and I guess from a crypto perspective, crypto's seen as the Republican thing. And the Democrats, because there's been so much opposition, more so than really ever. They might look at crypto as being, that's their thing. We're going to operate against it. Because we saw bipartisan support for the Genius Act, which was the stablecoin legislation. But we're seeing some roadblocks when it comes to this Clarity Act, which is more just generalized crypto regulation. And so what might happen there is, the midterms, things are stalled until the midterms, and then the Democrats come in and they win the midterms, and then they want to oppose any of Trump's and the Republicans' crypto acts or crypto regulation. So look, it's not super positive as it once was. So I think it's just something we need to monitor.
Because it could change. Because you could also argue then they'll want to get this through the door as fast as possible before the House gets fractured into more of a split decision. Because they're dominating right now, right? They can get more stuff through right now. The issues after midterms, they might get less through the door.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
So who knows what's going to happen there? I know it's not looking as good as it once was. Democrats have even started poking fun at Trump for the crypto price. I don't know if you saw the Twitter. Yeah, it's all happening on there. So I mean, it's not guaranteed that the Democrats have showed favorable crypto support in the past, but it's whether they continue that, and it seems to be the confidence is dwindling as we get close to those midterms.
Okay, interesting.
Moving on, so we got top movers. We'll finish off with some top movers. Unfortunately, in terms of green top movers, there aren't a heap. But what do we got in the last 7 days?
So last 7 days, we've got leading the pack when we're looking at the top 100 here, Morpho. So Morpho, DeFi lending platform. It's most notably known for partnering with Coinbase. It's basically the infrastructure for the Coinbase lending product, which I think it's been taken off and done quite well by all accounts at this stage. Obviously, if the market keeps dipping and people get liquidated, maybe seen in a bit more of a negative light. But just again, going to show that there is real use case for on-chain DeFi activity through centralized apps like Coinbase. We've got Pippin making a reappearance. So that was the AI meme coin that we talked about at length last week. So that's still up 13% this week.
Have you seen the actual photo of it?
Yeah, I have, yeah.
It looks ridiculous. I can't even
was
understand.
made with the first ChatGPT version, apparently.
Oh, okay.
Back one, or whatever it was.
It's
yeah.
like a 2-year-old drew it.
And then thirdly, we've got, I'll jump to 4 and 5. We're seeing the gold equivalents, PAXG and XAUT, right up there. And that makes complete sense with what's happening globally right now. Still quite a bit of trade happening, again, on the crypto markets on those tokenized gold assets. But yeah, thirdly, we've got World Liberty Finance. So I saw some news stories that may have sort of opened up the door for why this one's been in the news. Firstly, they're looking to expand their real-world product suite this quarter, as well as issue debit card and retail app launch as well this quarter. So I think maybe just a bit of news. People sort of looking at the success of USD1, their stablecoin, maybe trying to connect the dots there as well. So we'll see what happens.
Who was that, sorry?
World Liberty Finance.
Oh, yeah. Gotcha. Yeah, so Trump's project.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, yeah, obviously, like in a bear market like this, and we talked about consecutive red months, the losers are probably going to outshine the winners. In that case, the biggest loser for this week was not you, Pav. It was
there it is. Thank you.
It was Athena.
Okay.
So I guess like a similar sort of perpetuals trading protocol on Ethereum.
No, so Athena does like yield,
Gotcha,
but again, their yield is very dependent on the market trading. So if the market's not trading, their project doesn't do well. Not Athena the token, but their stablecoins USD don't perform too well.
So would you say that's similar to World Liberty Financial?
Negative. It's pretty unique actually. I don't think there's other products quite like it. There probably is one that I can't think of right now, but it kind of like shook the game up quite a bit when it launched in 23. Yeah,
we should do a deep dive on it.
We should.
The other one was Arbitrum.
This was funny.
Yeah, not sure if anyone saw, but Vitalik Buterin, who was one of the co-founders and sort of key figurehead behind Ethereum, came out and said Ethereum is scaling faster than they had expected.
Yep.
And so what that means is essentially layer 2s like Arbitrum and Optimism, whose selling points were lower fees but still transacting on the Ethereum network through another scaling layer, and also faster transactions, all the things that they basically were the USPs are now a bit redundant, I guess, from what Vitalik's saying, whether it's actually true or not. So it might need a bit of an evolution of what happens there, or if they've just become redundant in general. I don't know. But
yeah, we'll have to see. But that was I thought that was crazy reading that.
Yeah,
he was so like just how like confident he was that this is a direction we needed to go in. But I mean, cool. Like I guess good leadership is calling out the hard things. But obviously not too good if you've been working on those projects for a while and this is the pivot that you're seeing. Yeah,
exactly. Hyperliquid, interestingly, was in the biggest losers as well, despite it being in the green in 30 days, which is one of the few assets there. It's obviously taken a bit of a hit, I guess, because
still be watching that one, I reckon.
Yeah, people were
making revenue
some of their gains. Yeah. It's absolutely killing it in terms of revenue. Just an interesting little note to add. We talk about institutional adoption and whatnot. BlackRock still seems to be leading that space, despite there being murky regulation, as they've made a strategic investment into the Uniswap ecosystem.
Okay.
Which Uniswap, it was one of the first and probably still the biggest decentralized exchanges on Ethereum. But we haven't spoken about it too much, and it hasn't taken much of that limelight recently. But BlackRock's made an investment into their ecosystem. So I guess they're just continuing their line of crypto adoption. Yeah. You're also going to be able to trade the BIDL token through the Uniswap ecosystem.
Okay, that'll be the play. Yeah, okay, nice.
Yeah, I was looking at the price over the last month or so. Hasn't been reflected. Uniswap's still down pretty bad, like 30% or something.
Yeah.
But
it's like the rest of the market.
Yeah. But yes, let's leave it there.
It's a wrap. Well, thanks, guys. Again, if you liked any particular part of the segment today, or there's any topics you want us to cover, let us know. Again, this is a quieter couple of weeks and months ahead, so we're keen to just break down a few topics that you may be wanting to know more about. So yeah, we'll be back again, I think, to maybe talk about plan to reignite some of the more educational sort of topics that we've always talked about on the show at time to time. So maybe we'll spend a little bit more time just helping everyone sharpen up before things get busy again. Cool.
Thank you, guys.